Hello everyone, thanks for joining our webinar today. My name is Gavin Roberts. I'm the CTO at Topsec and I work with the development, system admin, operations and support team here in the office. I just wanted to have a few slides and a chat with you today about some of the features and a new product that we brought on last year, how that affected our development plan, and some of the updates we've done early this year and where we plan to go into 2024-25. So first of all, I'm going to begin just by mentioning Inbox Protect. Some of you may have seen this before. We've kind of covered this in a few of our events in the past. If you've been attending any of the events, you might have seen it. Inbox Protect was an idea that we had very early last year to integrate our security stacks into a Microsoft 365 tenant account. And we kind of had a pretty good idea at the beginning that when we did this, it would open up some pretty powerful options for us in terms of going kind of back in time and retrospectively actioning emails based on certain factors. We also knew that we'd need some other kind of systems in the background that would be looking at various different bits of information and then determining when something needs to happen. So our first kind of action on this was to design and develop a URL Analyser. The URL Analyser captures every single URL that passes through our system and then scans the URL, looks at the redirects of the URL, and it goes up to 10 redirects deep, checks each step along the way, and then produces a result. If the result is bad when an email arrives, then the email will be deleted. If the result is clean, then the URL Analyser effectively will continue on and it'll do repeat scans. So we did a lot of testing around how often we see URL redirects changing. So for I think for the first few tests, we had a look at kind of a 2-3 week window, but we quickly realized that the majority of URL redirects that change in links occurs in day 1. Then there are a few in day 2, a few in day 3, and by day 5, it's become very unlikely that it'll change at that point. So our repeat scans occur for a 5-day window for every URL after they arrive. This just means that anything that comes in, let's say an email arrives in this afternoon, has a URL that passes all of the scans. There's nothing wrong with the URL. Where it goes is perfectly safe. And then first thing tomorrow morning, that URL changes and all of a sudden is redirecting to somewhere that is dangerous or has a bad reputation. In that scenario, the rescans would detect the change, prompt Inbox Protect. An email that exists with this URL has become bad. Inbox Protect will have an index so it knows exactly where those emails are, and it will delete them. Now that could be one email, or it could be 50 users with the same email. It doesn't really matter. It'll take the email out from anywhere it exists. So that's kind of our retrospective feature, if you like, for Inbox Protect, and that's a quite a powerful change for us. You know, it has a lot of advantages. We did see in the late last year a rise in OneDrive links and QR codes that were changing after they had arrived. This is where this kind of comes into play, and there's some additional features to that I'll talk about in a moment. But that's kind of where it begins, is that we are checking. We're checking after the arrival of emails and then actioning if we find anything bad. Early this year, we've also added in QR code detection. Initially we had added this in, we were able to detect QR codes that were in the body of an email, in an attachment or an image. We've also added in link extraction from any documents that we see, so any PDFs or Word documents that are containing URLs, we'll strip those URLs out. This just means that we're adding any URLs from these two items into our URL Analyzer as well, and we're indexing where they are. So if the URL Analyzer comes up with the same result based on QR code or attachment link, an attachment link that's been extracted, then anything that we find after the mail arrives will action it to delete the email. So it's just taking that quite a bit further now into QR codes and attachments. And we've also added those same detections into our gateway too. So if an email arrives into our gateway, contains a QR code, we'll detect that the QR code is there, we'll have a look at what it's doing, we'll follow where it goes, and if the result is it's dangerous, the email would be stopped and quarantined. For our portal, we've added in Inbox Protect Search, and this is just where we kind of take the same the same feature, if you like, that we're using for the analyzer to kind of step in and delete something that exists already. We're using that same area to provide this Inbox Protect Search, and what this allows either us or our customers to do is enter in a search criteria. So this could be an attachment name, it could be a subject, a phrase in the body, the sender, the recipient, and then a date time frame. This results in a display of all of the emails that match the criteria. You would then have the option to select all or select individual emails and delete them. Anything that's been selected for deleted would delete in milliseconds from the mailbox. Any mailbox that contains those mails would show up. So this is an additional kind of feature on top of Inbox Protect that we're kind of taking advantage of what Protect does and trying to give more into the portal to allow us to have a bit more power and control. So if there's an email that arrives into a tenant that you don't want to be there, and you have a little bit of information on that email, you can search for it, find it, and delete it from everywhere that it exists. As well, then we have added in a page which is an on-demand URL scanning page. So this page, it allows for an on-demand search for any details that we have on any specific URL. So if there's a URL that is going to be sent out and you want to check the URL beforehand just to make sure that it all comes back clean, or if there's a URL that's landed in and you just want to have a look and see what would our system think of it, then it can be added in there manually, searched, and we'll give you a response. And that response typically categorizes a URL with the type of URL it is, whether it's like e-commerce or banking or social, or it'll let you know what kind of category it's classed as, and then any reputational issue or if there's any known malware or problem with that site, it'll let you know. We've also then added Protect, Quarantine, and Message History into the portal, so it's blended in with the gateway. So for gateway customers that are opting for hybrid with Inbox Protect, there's no training, there's nothing really new to learn. Everything is in the same place. It's the only difference is there's a little flag to say this one was called by Inbox Protect, this one was called by the gateway. Otherwise, everything is the same. The release process is the same. The review process is the same. So there's very, very little change in terms of administration. So for 2024-25, our roadmap, one of the big items at the moment on our list for this year is a two-phase portal update. We recognise that there are new features coming on board. There's new features that we've added over the last year, and that's kind of beginning to extend our menus and the areas in the portal. So we need to look at rethinking the menus and the layouts and just making sure that as things are added and it grows, that it remains easy to use. So we've begun that process, and we have a kind of an initial phase one, small enough change that we'll be doing in the next few months, and then that will also bring in some extra reporting into the dashboard area. It'll make reporting a lot more visible, just based on feedback. The reporting that we have at the moment, maybe it's not the easiest to find, so we're going to kind of bring that to the forefront so you get useful information the moment you log in. As well, then we are looking at an overall much larger update to the portal that will not just maybe tweak some of the menus and add in a few additional features, but it'll be an overall look and feel that we believe will be an improvement to the site and kind of bring it up to speed with everything that we have in terms of products now. For Inbox Protect, the infrastructure, we're 100,000 plus mailboxes now using Inbox Protect, so we're upping our infrastructure there. Crypto-related fraud detection, we're looking at updates at the moment for phishing, malware detection, fake support, social engineering detection that looks for patterns and known techniques that we know are out there that match. Very similar financial brand identification. Our system can look at logos and then recognize a brand, so we're just doing more around that to tie up brands with companies, financial companies, and then look for those patterns where maybe those two things don't match, and we can identify when something is a phishing or phishing email, or it's got bad actions against it. Our sandbox machine learning algorithms, we've updates on the way for them, just again pattern recognition for phishing attempts and account takeovers, social engineering threats, that kind of thing. So we've a lot of improvements there and tweaks that we're making that will just add to it. AI assessment in portal and notifications, we're at the moment we're displaying a number of different things based on a quarantined email to explain why the email is quarantined and where it might be a risk. Our feeling is that we're going to kind of bring more attention to this and simplify the way that it displays this information. So we're looking at using AI that we have here to take our information and then turn it into plain English descriptions that are also to some degree creating a severity level for the threatened questions. So it'll give a score, say of 1 to 10, 10 being very dangerous. And this is something that we are working on at the moment, and it's something that we haven't made final decisions on how we're going to display all this. But to give you an example, here's a Trojan virus that maybe has come in an email, and then based on what we know and what we have about this, we can generate something to this effect that will explain what the Trojan virus is, what it potentially can do, and in a summary to basically deter the user from trying to release something. So in this case, they wouldn't be able to release a Trojan virus, but they might go down the road of trying to do that with their admin, and then that potentially can cost time for everybody. Whereas if we can display that information very clearly at this point, or potentially in a notification, in a quarantine notification, it may just answer that question straight away for the individual and cost less time ultimately. At the bottom as well, we could look at maybe having some custom text that maybe relates to policy or something potentially in there. We're not sure yet. We're still kind of early days on this, but we're trying a few different things. There's just a simpler example. So in this example at the bottom, the risk score, it's given it 8 out of 10. The recommendation, given the suspicious nature of this email, it is advisable to err on the side of caution, avoid interacting with it. So typically that kind of thing, but a little bit of advice for the user, and then a score. From our portal's perspective, this is how that could potentially look. You'll see there it gives a quarantine reason and a risk level high, virus, malware detected. In the AI assessment tab down the bottom, again it gives the name of the virus, the risk level out of 10, this description of what it does, a summary, and then some advice. So this is the idea that it's a lot more informative, easy to interpret, and potentially just tries to nudge the user in the right direction in terms of what to do next. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to drop me over an email anytime if you want to even line up a meeting and have a conversation just on any of these subjects, or any of the products, features. Please feel free. Thank you.